of this discussion kind of popping around here and there, different iterations of it, and different reasons why we're bringing it up now. I believe this is called a Ward Family Council, something along those lines. Is that right? That's what the bishop called what last week was. And we planned this out, me and Sister Walters, a few weeks ago. Well, actually a couple months ago. And we landed on today as the landing date. And it just so happened that Bishop, 2 weeks ago, was like, you know what? We're going to have a Word Family Council meeting last week. So you get 2 in a row. Lucky you guys. So I wanted to talk a little bit about supporting families at church. I'm going to go into a little bit of the psychology background that I'm able to offer. But first, I'd like to start with a prayer. Let's see. Could you get the prayer? Would you be able to do that? Yes. All right.
Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to be here today. Receive your message from messengers, from our different members today, their wonderful talks. Thank you for bringing us here today as a class. And thank you for allowing us to learn more, to be better people, better members to one another. Thank you for this class. Thank you for everything else given us. Say these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and probably shut this door. So, something that kind of caught my eye when I moved into the ward is I grew up in a really big family ward, and there were tons of children all the time. Coming into this ward, not as much. I don't know if you noticed, but normally passing the sacrament, we have adults doing that. And taking a quick scope, a quick snapshot of the primary, it's not as big as some other wards. And so what I wanted to talk about today is how can we support the families that we have here in our ward? How can we strengthen them? How can we fortify our ward and envelop our families in love? And also, when we have new families coming in, how can they feel that love immediately? We don't want our new families to come in and experience, maybe some harsh looks or phrases that might turn them away from our wonderful ward. And every ward is different, but our message is the same. So I wanted to share this video with us.
Master is in need of rest, please. Peter, James. Suffer the little children to come unto me. Forbid them not. For of such is the kingdom of God. Verily I say unto you, whosoever shall not receive the kingdom of God as a little child shall in no wise enter therein.
beautiful, is it not? As a little child. That is the goal for all of us. I don't know how to get to the next slide without having to do this a little bit. Okay. So, I've looked at how I wanted to approach this lesson many different ways, from a bunch of different angles, and starting points. And I was talking to my wife about it, and she actually shared a message from the Liahona, or maybe from the friend. I'm not too sure which one. I think it's from the Liahona, about 5 ways to support parents of children with neurodiversity. Who here has heard the term neurodiversity? Okay, so a few people. Perfect. Okay. Does anyone feel comfortable taking a stab at what neurodiversity means to them? Go ahead.
So neurodiversity, from my understanding, is when someone's brain functions differently than what is considered a neurotypical brain. And so they learn different, and they see the world a bit different, and they may act a bit different than other people, and they process everything in reality different, and their speech may be different. And so there may be social, emotional, mental implications to their lives that as a neurotypical person, we may or may not understand. And now in the neurodiversity field, and we're talking about kids, but they're starting to realize that neurodiversity encompasses a lot more things than it used to.
Perfect. And those are some of the things that are kind of within the world of neurodiversity. So neurodiversity is exactly what you shared. You know, we process the world a little bit differently than the neurotypical brain. And I know that this right here is not necessarily doctrine, right? we're kind of going into the realm of psychology. But I do think that it is very important that we do learn a little bit about this, because we have a significant population within our ward that identifies with this right here, especially within our youth. So I think that it's very important that us as a ward family get to know our ward members a little bit better. So first of all, neurodiversity, it's not necessarily a diagnosis. It's not a clinical, a doctor will tell you, yes, you are neurodiverse or not. It's more of a social idea that every brain is different. Brains that experience normal development, and this could either be their DNA, their genes, or what they experience in the womb, or what they experience in their development growing up. If everything is what we consider to be normal, they're called neurotypical. Brains that develop differently or have gene mutations that alter their brain, or experience things in their life that change their brain development, are called neurodivergent. Some of the ones that we have listed on here are autism spectrum disorder, which we'll be talking a little bit about today. Dyslexia, I'm sure a lot of you have heard that term before. We have ADHD, ADD, which is no longer a term that we use. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, trauma. Kids that experience trauma can alter their brain function, how they perceive the world. So these are all different conditions that we would consider someone to be neurodivergent. And those of us that experience normal development would be considered neurotypical. So talking about autism a little bit here, I wanted to touch on it a little bit. What is autism or autism spectrum disorder? There are 2 main features, main characteristics that people look for in a diagnosis. One is differences in social communication and social interaction. So there's the social impairment, and like you just said, they might be perceiving the world differently than the rest of us, right? And so when a child with autism has a social conversation, they might react or interact in a way that is different from how other people might react in that scenario. Or they might be non-social, so they might not even want to have social interactions. And then the other main feature, main characteristic is restrictive and repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities. So these present in early development period. So what does this mean? So restricted means kind of like a narrow focus. They might be interested in a very specific thing. And repetitive is, it's that same thing over and over again. So in some people, it might look like a specific topic. So a little bit about my background. I've worked in the field of psychology for about 5.5 years now in a bunch of different capacities, but mostly working with children with autism. And one of the kids that I worked with, he was very, very, very interested in the Titanic. And his parents told me first day, do not talk about the Titanic with them, please. Some of them are like, please, you know, this is what they're interested in, please, you know, talk to them about that. That's what they're interested in. But some of them are very, you know, limited in their interests or their behaviors. Yes, please.
I just wanted to throw in with the interest.
Yes.
Is that kids with autism can hyperfixate in that moment till something happens. And that can be something of, there is a button on the floor and you're like, let's keep walking, let's keep
Yeah.
walking. Until that button is picked up, they cannot not hyperfixate. And it could be something as simple as, there could be somebody in the sacrament meeting that's wearing very pretty jewelry. And until one of my kids comes up to you and touches it, they cannot sit still and they cannot do anything. So you need to understand, they're not trying to be intrusive, they're not trying to be invasive in your space. They literally cannot stop hyperfixating on how beautiful it is, or how much, or shiny, or like how much they just want to feel what it feels like, to the extent that I've had a kid eat a kid's hair in school because she thought it looked like chocolates.
Oh.
She's traced somebody lucky on the back of a lady's thumb in the shopping center because it was sparkly and she just wanted to trace the letters because they were tactile. Now, I understand that. It was not appropriate. But when they hyperfixate in that moment, it could be something super simple, but they really can't get past it till something happens.
And that's part of like executive function. You know, people that are considered neurotypical might have better dominion over our thoughts and our actions. People that are neurodivergent might not have the ability to control what they say, what they think, and what they do. There is that fixation over your fixated interests, right? They might be hyper-focused on one thing and their brain is just not letting them move on from that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. With some of my other kiddos, it could just be they really like a certain video and they will watch that video over and over and over
Or
and
the
over
same
again.
5 seconds of
Uh-huh,
the
yeah,
video.
the same. Wind it back, yeah. Which is lovely, right? I'm
Yeah,
sure.
no.
Oh, no? Oh,
If only
It
you
gets,
were-
it gets old real fast.
Yeah. Okay, so our understanding of autism has changed a lot over the years. To give a brief history, the first time autism was coined, it was actually thought to be a type of schizophrenia. We know that is not the case today, right? It's evolved so much over the years, they thought it was an over-exaggeration of imagination and then an under-exaggeration of imagination. And now it's broadened to, in the sense that in 2014, they developed in the DSM-5 autism spectrum disorder, which included several disorders, such as what was previously just autism. Has anybody heard of Asperger's syndrome? Okay, that is now an autism spectrum disorder. We have pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified, but that was too long. And then CDD, which is something else. And then Rett syndrome. And those are just some of the conditions that are under the umbrella of autism spectrum disorder. So it is very broad in that sense. Okay, couple other ones I wanted to touch on lightly. ADHD, who's heard of this one? Okay, who can tell me what ADHD is? Yes.
Basically, the ADHD brain doesn't process dopamine properly.
Oh,
And so
there we go.
Because of that, we struggle with executive function, so being able to start a task is a big one. Being able to, once I get started, I'm usually focused on that task until something interrupts me,
You hyperfixate.
and then it's gone.
Yeah.
I joke that one of the superpowers that ADHD gives me is that I can be holding something in my hand, turn to talk to somebody, and I look back and it's gone.
It's not there.
And I have no idea where I set it down.
It's crazy, huh? Yeah, absolutely.
And is that a superpower?
You can make things disappear.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
One thing I wanna add to both of those, this and autism, is there is no impulse control. There just isn't, like, it just doesn't exist,
Uh-huh.
because, at least with Riley, she will say before she thinks,
Mhm.
and then she's trying to pull it back in,
Mhm.
because then she's realizing, and it's like, oh, that crayon looks great, I'm gonna scribble, and then she scribbles, and then she's like, oh, I'm gonna get in trouble,
No.
oh dang it, right? And so there is, like, because the dopamine is needed so fast, that it is very much this like quick little split second, I'm gonna do something I really know I shouldn't do, but I didn't have time to think about it before I
Right.
did.
Right? And for both kids with autism or ADHD, it's that instant gratification. Their brain is like, I need to be gratified, and I need it right now.
Yeah.
Right? And so starting a long task, when does the gratification come in? Maybe it never does, right? So why am I gonna start that task? Those of us that are neurotypical, we can go, you know what, I really don't wanna do this, I'm gonna do it anyway. Not necessarily an option, for these folks. So there's three main types. There's inattentive type, which is your attention is somewhere else, especially when something's boring, right? There's the hyperactive type, which is really impulsive type, right? In young children, that impulsivity presents as being hyperactive, but it's really, they can't control their impulses. Something comes in their brain and they do it without thinking. And then there's combined type, which is extra super fun, which is both. Yeah, I once observed a student and then worked with him for 12 weeks where I observed him for 2 hours and he was out of his chair 150 times. Yeah, that is not something where it's, well, the teacher just needs to tell them to sit down. No, their brain is like, man, turn him up, you know? So, and then the last one that I want to touch on is Down syndrome. Who's heard of Down syndrome? Anybody want to share
I
with
knew
me?
somebody had that syndrome.
Okay. Very cool.
They're real smart. They ain't dumb, but they're real smart.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So that is one of the things that, you know, when you look online about Down syndrome, it'll say lower IQ, right? I'm gonna put on here risk of lower IQ, okay? I've known several students with Down syndrome that have graduated high school, and they're amazing, really smart people. One of the distinct features is their facial features. You'll be able to see it, not with autism or ADHD. One of the parents that I talked to, they're like, you know, I was out in public and I explained that my child had autism, and they're like, well, he doesn't look like it. Like, oh, okay. Well, honey, could you please do an autism for the individual? It doesn't work like that. But this is a mutation. This is where the genes come in for the neurodivergency. It's trisomy 21 is the most common form of Down syndrome. It's where you see how every one of these, there's two. The 21st chromosome, there's 3 copies, and it causes risk of lower IQ and risk of other health conditions. Okay, moving on to the actual article that my wife shared with me. It's 5 ways to support children with autism or neurodivergence at church. That's the whole name of the article. And we are going to broaden this a little bit to just how to support parents of children with neurodivergence, or with children, right? But also we're going to be talking about neurodiversity as well. Okay, so can I have a volunteer to read this first one? This is the overview of the article. Yes.
The challenges that these parents face daily can be overwhelming. For many, tasks that might seem small to others, like attending church services, navigating social interactions, or simply getting through a routine day, can be monumental feats.
Perfect. 2 words that I wanted to highlight here is can and can't, okay? The objective of this lesson is not to tell you that autism is the worst thing that could ever happen to a person or their families, okay? I know some people that have that belief. That is not what I'm saying, okay? These amazing children have so much love to offer to the world. So I don't want to make it all doom and gloom, but I also don't want to undermine the challenges, the unique challenges that parents can face, and I want us to be aware of them. Are there any comments?
So you're telling us about this, some of the characteristics.
Yeah.
But unless, for example, we're new to the ward,
Mhm.
so unless I personally know you and I know your child is, has some of these, disorders, how do I tell? Like, how
It's the
can I
kid
tell?
screaming in Zachary.
How can I tell
It's the kid
child?
vocal stimming going, oh.
Yeah.
There's like 5 of them, so.
Yeah, so-
Or anywhere else, if the child is just being
Yeah, there's a,
disorderly, as in, he actually has a condition.
absolutely, there is a quote that will pop up on the screen later, and it's very common within the autistic community. If you've met one child or one person with autism, you've met one person with autism, right? So the more that we know and educate ourselves, the better. But just, even if we have a little bit of experience, I still can't tell other parents' children what their child with autism is gonna look like. So there are a lot of presentations. Do you wanna share?
I was just gonna say, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
It all kind of boils down to, you're not owed anybody's diagnosis. And so if you're having an issue with a child, maybe somebody's bothering you, or maybe even a person at work, or somebody that you have to interact with. If they're bugging you, if they're doing something that you think, well, that's inappropriate, you have no way of knowing what their diagnoses are, what their personal issues are. So the only thing that you should be doing is just saying, okay, that's something that's bugging me. Either I'm gonna avoid them, that's something I can't deal with, or what can I do to help them alleviate that?
Exactly. And so that's part of what I'm gonna be talking about too, is it's not our place to go up to a parent and go, hey, what's wrong with your child, right? That is, which I have heard before, right? And these concepts are true for kids with neurodivergency, but it's true for all of our children, and we need to treat all of our children like the children of God. Were you gonna say something?
No, I'll agree with you.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Anybody else wanna agree with me? Amen?
I'll agree with you.
Okay. Okay, this is the first, so there's 5. This is the first suggestion that she gives us. Who can read this for us? Yes.
Sunday one, be understanding and patient in church settings. Sunday services can be a challenge for neurodivergent children. Give parents the benefit of the doubt that they know their child best and they are doing all they can in these overwhelming moments. I have nothing to add. Okay, so for Jackson, he's in a moderate to severe classroom setting. He gets to walk around, he gets up, he has a personal one-on-one aide, he has a behavioral plan, he has all of these things set up professionally through the school legally that can be done. Now I'm supposed to bring him to church in a pew that's this big, in clothes that are itchy and scratchy, because if I could, I would bring the kid in just his diaper, because that's how he lives at home. And I 100% taken his shirt off in the middle of Sacrament meetings. I'm like, you know what? Jesus would understand. Out of everything, he would totally understand. So I have to bring my kid in uncomfortable clothes. I have to have him be quiet. I have to have him be reverent, which is hilarious, and then put him in this little tiny box and not have him roll around or run around or punch or pull or bite his sisters. It's very difficult. And if I miss a week because someone's sick, oh my gosh, we start all over again. If there is not consistency in coming every single week, I mean, even when I've come here for activities for Lily, when I would come here for different things, he sees a church and he screams. We actually parked today, and he went, "Wah!" And Josh and I were like, okay, kid, but like, there's not much we can do, because we haven't been in Toots because I've been so sick, and they've been sick. And Yeah, it's a really big challenge, whereas Lily and Rayla can go, yay, this means we're going to primary. Jackson goes, I hate this.
Mhm.
You can't communicate it. My kid is nonverbal. He can't communicate that. So it's very hard feeling like you're torturing a child when you know morally this is the right thing to do, this is the right place to be. It's very difficult. And I grew up in a family where everything was black and white. You sit reverent, you sit still, your hands are in your lap. If you want to, you can do a crossword puzzle, or you can write a dictation on what the speaker just said. Like, that was the family I grew up in, and so when I became a parent, I thought, this is what you do. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's funny. Let's put the whisk in there and just swirl it all around. And I've learned now that I have to support, adapt, thank you. I have to adapt, and I have to support my child to feel safe in church, not care what anyone else around me thinks.
Absolutely. So really
Not
quick,
saying
wanna
I don't
touch
love
on-
you all, but I'm just saying, like, I have to, my child is more important than my worry about what other people think about me.
Absolutely.
And if my kid, and it got to the point where Jackson vocal stimming, which is basically meaning he talks or he makes sounds, and it sounds good, and it sounds cool. So he'll do the same thing, la 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 la, and for him in his brain, it's
Yeah.
the right thing that just sounds the right way. And I can't tell you, growing, cause now he's 6, for the longest time I was so embarrassed. He was the loudest one in Sacramento. I would cry. I was so embarrassed because I could see people stare at me. It was horrible. I felt judged. I felt unloved. And it got to the point where I'm like, you know what? You sit in front of me, that is your fault. You should know that this is the loud section. And if it's someone visiting, I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry, but this is like my family. And a lot of it comes from just acceptance.
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes from loving your child so freaking much, it doesn't matter. And my testimony is in the gospel and in the Savior, and it's not in the people. So as much as hard as it is to drag into church, and we're late every single Sunday, I know it's the right place to be despite him probably hating it.
Absolutely. So, if any of you come from a family like you grew up in, where everything is black and white, children are to maybe be seen and not heard. I don't know if we've heard that one before. And you hear a noise coming from the back, and you feel the need to go.
Especially with that face. That
Yeah.
was
Thank you.
that one.
Yeah.
I don't like when somebody looks and there's a smile.
Yeah.
Like a,
Yeah.
yeah, like
It's
if I
the
get the
same
smile,
face.
yeah, it's totally the same face, like the.
Just keep in mind all of the thoughts that you're already having, all of the years that you've gone through, and all the work that you put into just to bring in the church. Try to keep that in mind instead of.
And my kid still doesn't even attend primary because he can't handle it. Josh is in the hallway with him. So.
Should I open the door so you can hear?
No.
We're recording it, so we'll
Okay.
post it.
Well, and I wanna comment with my kids, like, sometimes, I know it looks odd that I sometimes take up 3 pews. I do that because my kids need to feel the carpet, or they need to run along the wall. And people used to kind of be like, oh, go back to mom, as my daughter's like rubbing her whole body up against the scratchy wall, cause that's what she wanted at that point. And we realized that taking up 3 pews just made it easier. And when they fight, then they just crawl under and grab another pew, which is good. But I know that it doesn't, as Kelsey was saying, like, Sunday doesn't always look the same for everybody, because we're trying to help them feel the Spirit, how they feel the Spirit.
How do we act?
Yeah, and how they act.
So
And how
either
they
have a
feel.
fist fight or let us take up 3 rows.
There you go.
Right? That's basically it, 'cause there's row downs.
Do you feel like this part is true right here, that they know their child best, right?
We pretend to.
So it's not necessarily everyone else's job to go, this is how your Sunday should look. Thank you for sharing. Okay. I want to get some thoughts over here. What do we see?
A kid throwing a tantrum.
Kid throwing a tantrum, right?
And the parents letting them do it.
They're just letting them do it. Can you believe that? Look at this. It looks like they're even laughing. Okay, who has seen this at a store before? Who's been in a
Look
store?
at it in the store.
You guys don't count.
Hey, hey, hey.
Normally we walk up to the parents and we're like, dude, you're doing awesome.
Yeah.
You got this.
I'm laughing with
Yeah.
you.
Right. You totally got this. I've been there. I've been
Maybe
there 5
maybe
minutes.
not you guys, but what do parents think when they see this? Right? Like, what are the parents doing? Right? Why aren't they parenting their child? What are some other things that people might say?
One of the worst ones I've ever gotten is, if you won't spank them, I will.
Ooh, ooh.
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
Sorry, I'm really snarky today, sorry.
Yeah, I'll spank them for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, why aren't they parenting, right?
My favorite, I went to Costco and I had all 3 of my kids screaming and crying, and I had a Costco worker look at me and laugh and go, "Wow, you got your hands full," and I'm like, didn't say anything, I just went, "Thanks," and just walked away and cried when I got in the car.
Oh.
But, yeah, you got your hands full is asking for it. Just saying.
Normally they'd say, oh, are you offering? Oh, thanks for being my personal shopper. Come on,
Yeah.
go get another cart. I've already got 2. Lasso together.
And I think that child could be thinking he's a big whale in the ocean.
Oh.
And he's ready to launch.
I love that.
You know,
I love that.
so you don't know why they're doing it.
Uh-huh. You never know.
I get from Michael all the time that from his school that he needs to learn responsibility.
Learn responsibility.
But he has like a 5-minute memory.
Yeah.
I do that before.
Did I see a hand in the back over there?
I was just saying, like, I don't know if I agree with it, but the parents who let them do it, they're probably just, telling themselves, they should just let them blow off some steam or something.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe they're just letting them blow off some steam, that could be it.
One thing that I know I hear from my kids' school all the time is that they're not meeting expectations. This is not an expectation that is being met because this behavior is unacceptable.
I'm gonna put it not meeting maybe my expectation.
Or the parents are just lazy
Oh,
and they're not parenting their kid. They're letting the kid walk all over them.
For Michael, the responsibility also is the,
what's that?
I was saying responsibility,
Mhm.
it's the accountability is what he gets with it
True,
also.
it's true, it's
Accountability.
I see that before.
true.
Okay, perfect. Well, those are enough bad things on there. All right. I was going to talk about this one right here. You know, a lot of people see their other people's kids with iPads or phones or whatever, and they're like, "Why aren't the parents?" You know, whatever. Okay. Parenting, right? I do want to share a story really quick, and I know that, man, we are almost out of time. That's crazy. We're having a really good conversation here. I worked with the same kid for 2 years. Several hours a day, 3 to 4 days a week. And the parents were very involved. So the parents were putting in several hours a day, several days a week with me there, and then more hours with me not there. And we were teaching him how to self-regulate his emotions, how to ask for things politely, how to accept no when the parents say no. And we had gotten so far, we're like, let's do a family outing. And we went to a store, and the kid wanted something and wasn't able to have it and had a meltdown. And then other people came and they saw, what were we doing? We were letting him vent. We were letting him blow off the steam and kind of de-escalate. We were helping him, you know, trying to use our tools and everything. But we could hear and see the other parents go, why aren't they parenting their child? This is what I would do differently. I've heard that so many times. If that were my kid, and you don't know the hours and days and months and years that those parents are putting in behind the scenes. So,
I do that before.
yeah, Absolutely.
If the kid wanted a toy, depending on them attitudes, go to see.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it happen many times.
And some parents give in and they give them the toy. Some parents say no,
Well,
and
normally you give a whipping back for that, like.
yeah, some parents spank them right there. Some parents just drag them out of the store.
Yeah.
Is it our job to judge which of those is right?
Along with your thing of, if I was a parent, I'd do it differently. I had a friend who came to me and said, you know, Riley's behavior is inappropriate and this is what I do. I said, cool, do it. 6.5 hours later, Riley was still going strong.
Yeah.
And she goes, you're not kidding. I said, no, I'm not kidding. Have you enjoyed this timeout time with her?
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed sitting there, putting her back in the timeout chair and putting her back in the timeout chair? I've had fun with your children. I'll go play with your kids and you can do this all day. And she was like, no, you're right. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, I understand when my kid is teachable and when they're not.
Yeah. The same thing, I worked at a non-public school for kids with aggressive behaviors. One of our kids, his iPad wasn't working. 4 hours of constant tantruming, throwing things at our faces, scratching, biting. They don't always have that executive function.
Just a couple days ago.
Oh, well, there you go.
Jackson actually has cracks all on his iPad and immediately melts down when it dies.
Yeah.
And there is no,
So if you see,
talking logically, there's nothing.
uh-huh.
It's, yeah.
So if you see a parent and their kid is doing this, that could be the alternative. Is hours and hours of screaming and crying and throwing things. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and skip a little bit. Offer practical help. Here we go. So if you notice a parent is struggling, offer help that is specific to their situation. And if they decline, ask what would be helpful instead. So a few weeks ago, I was holding Cambria, my newborn, and Eden was running away. And she's a runner, she'll run into the street. And I was trying to catch her and grab her and try to bring her to the car. And a parent saw that I was struggling and they said, do you need help? I'm like, no, I got it. And I was bringing Eden to the car, she slipped free and ran away again. And then I was running after her with the baby in my arms, and I finally got her, and I was dragging her outside of church, and Eden was lying on the floor and kicking and screaming. And then someone asked, hey, do you need help? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Okay, here's Cambria. So us as parents are very reluctant to ask for help. We are also sometimes reluctant to accept help, but we do appreciate help when it is offered. The only help that it may not be great is unsolicited advice. We've talked about that a lot. This is what you should be doing differently. Not a great look. Please don't do that. But now I want to talk about what are some ways that others have helped you in the church. You know, yeah.
After I had Rayla, I was pretty vocal about my postpartum experience,
Okay.
where the whole ward kind of knew about it. But I had a lot of help from the sisters in the Relief Society. I had Alice Sanford call me, and she said, what can I do to help? There were several weeks where Josh was sick, and I was at church by myself with all 3 kids, and I was sobbing after every meeting. And I would have people stare at me like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm not okay. But I had Alice Sanford call, and she said, okay, this is, what can we do to help? And I'm like, I have no idea. I had no answer. She said, okay, this is what I was thinking. So she already had a game plan, and she said, Sister Keller, who still sits behind me, because the Kellers are like the best freaking family ever, still sit behind me, pack a toy bag and snacks for my kids. I had Tamra, before she left on her mission, she would give me a bag every single Sunday of snacks, kaleidoscopes, all kinds of stuff to help my kids out. I had people hug me when I was crying, and instead of
Well, how about that?
telling me that I needed to calm down or anything, I was told I was loved. And that,
Here we go.
and that they could see me trying, and that they loved the sound of my kids screaming in sacrament meeting. I was told that repeatedly by Brother Walters and by Brother Keller. They were like, nope, your family makes such a difference in sacrament meeting when you come. It's too quiet when you're gone. And that tells me how loud I was when we were here. But it happened because honestly, I would have died with that secret. I would have just crawled in a hole and died rather than admit that I was struggling. But I was so moved by the Spirit to share. I then had ward members come up to me and say, Kelsey, thank you so much. I'm so sorry for what's happening to you. This is how I want to help. So it came from me being vulnerable, and it came from me opening for other people to offer help, and for me to be humble enough to accept it, because when it comes down to it, there's not a lot of people I trust with Jackson.
Yeah.
So if someone were to say, oh, let me take Jackson, I'm like, no, that's okay, that's fine. Just because I know how physical he gets, I know how violent he gets, I know all these different things. And so, I absolutely agree, it's really hard to accept help. So, part of offering help to families that need help, it also comes with being humble enough to accept it. And it's really embarrassing accepting help a lot of the times, because you feel like you have to do it all.
Yeah.
Why can't I do it all?
Brother Eller in the back.
Yeah, just one thing I wanted to add to that as well, and I was just talking to my wife about this actually last week, is kind of similar to the ward that I grew up in when I was younger, like going through primary. It was a huge ward, tons of kids, super loud and noisy, and when I went on my mission, I remember the first Sunday in the MTC, it freaked me out because it was so insanely quiet, because just a bunch of 19-year-old guys sitting there, and I actually missed hearing the kids screaming and crying. And that's one thing that I actually really kind of appreciate, is hearing that actually kind of brings me back to that when I was younger. And it actually is, in a weird, twisted way, it is comforting hearing the kids screaming and crying, because it's, yeah, sorry.
I got you, Ben.
Thank you so much.
That's why we're friends.
My comment is just that, in these situations, we need to do something that my wife and I learned on our mission, and that is to love as Christ loves. For Christ loves without judgment. He loves us all, those who handicapped and those without. So we need to love our brothers and sisters in the Lord, no matter what their circumstances are.
You know, I saw people have helped in the ward. I mean, you've given me and my children blessings, which has been amazing. Being able to receive priesthood blessings when we need them. The sister missionaries have come over and cleaned my house who knows how many times. And they have literally come clean my house. My children have come home and they're like, oh, we just came and did all this. And I'm like, oh no, this is it. Welcome. But they still come, even though week after week the shoes are strewn all over the house and we sit there putting shoes on the rack half the day. But they're awesome like that. I've had other sisters offer to just come and sit with Hypatia so that she's not sitting in a car 5 or 6 hours. I've had sisters come play games with Riley when she had earlier days so that I could still prep for the week. I've had people come help me meal prep because I actually have to make almost all my kids' food from scratch because of their allergies. I have Brother Baldwin who loves my children to death and has gone out of his way when I'm feeling down in the dumps to tell me how much he loves them. And even comes and gives Riley free piano lessons, which is a huge thing for us because she wants to do piano, but mentally and emotionally she can't handle somebody who just doesn't love her. And he loves her so much that it is just so sweet when she doesn't even want to practice, but he still shows up. Because she loves spending time with him. Because he means that much to her.
So something that we've talked a lot about what other families can do for other people in the ward can do for families and parents. And I also wanted to touch on what we as parents and families can do for the ward. a lot of great stuff in there. But, and I'm gonna share this with the ward. I'll share it in an email with everyone so that you can go through it. But when we experience any of these things, what we as parents can do is remember all of these things that people have done for us. Okay? We are a ward family. We love each other. And we have so many people that are willing to help out. And we don't have to wait to be ministered to. Us as parents and families can actively minister. We can give people the benefit of the doubt. And we can remember all of the sacrifices and what people have given to us. There's a good story in here. This is one of my favorite movies. It's a Christmas movie.
Love that one.
Oh my gosh. How about this, huh? I'll let you read it later. Okay.
If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix. Watch it this Christmas.
It's
such
not
a
too
good-
early for Christmas. Give it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's delightful.
Really quick, I would love, I know that time is running out, I would love to sing a song together. Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Will you be able to? So we will have, who can sing higher? This side over here looks like they can sing a little bit higher. So you are going to be leading them with this. I'm going to be leading this side once she's done in this side. And then afterwards we're going to sing together. Yeah. Okay, we're going to sing at the same time. And this is called A Child's Prayer. So as we go about our week, think about how we can emulate the spirit of this conversation and the spirit of this song. Everyone for your comments. Thank you for participating. Thank you for supporting the families in our ward. We love you. We love our families. We love our children. As we get new families coming into the ward, which we will, let us do and say the things that'll help them feel this love. I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Would you be able to give our closing prayer?
Our Father in heaven, we thank you for that. We pray, Father in heaven, that would bless those with children with needs, that they might have thy spiritual qualities. Bless us as Lord members who would like to be to see thy love for the children. We thank thee for thy loving kindness to us, as thy blesses us with others. We pray that you will be with us always. And help to strengthen us, Holy Spirit, as we go. Pray in the name of Jesus Christ.
Everybody sign